Hi, this is going to be a very simple demonstration of the buddy system, a new safety magic trick based on a very, very old card effect. I do not claim to have invented the card effect. All I did was apply it to this new demonstration. Did I ever tell you about the time a magician saved my life? Probably not. It was a long time ago when I was about your age. Well, one day I was down at the beach and I was all by myself and I was going to go for a swim. All of a sudden, this little old man kind of pops out from nowhere and he says, "Young man, would you like to learn a magic spell?" Magic spell, I thought, that'd be pretty cool. Sure. He looked me in the eyes and he said, "When you swim, swim with a friend. It's much safer and more fun then." And I said, well, what's that? He said, "That's the buddy system. You've never heard of the buddy system?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Then you've never heard this magic spell. Swim, but never alone." So he brought out some cards and he took off two and he said, "You see these two cards? They're buddies. They match." And he put them down on the table. He took the next two cards. "You see these two cards? They match. They're buddies. When you swim, swim with a friend. It's much safer and more fun then." And he showed me two more cards and he said, "You see those cards? They match. They're buddies. Swim but never alone." And he showed two more cards. "Those, they match. They're buddies." And the last two cards, they match. They're buddies. He then said, "I will now prove to you that swim but never alone is a magic spell. Now, everything will be up to you. Pile number one, pile number two. I will give one of these piles a magic shuffle. Pile number one, pile number two, the choice is totally up to you."
Number two.
Number two. And as he took pile number two and put it behind his back, he shuffled while saying the magic spell, "Swim but never alone, swim but never alone, swim but never alone, swim but never alone, swim but never alone." He brought the cards back out. Here's the secret shuffle. They pick a pile, you put it behind your back, all you do is reverse the order. And why I was going swim but never alone, swim but never alone, was so that I could be really still and slide these off and make sure that I did it. Now they're in reversed order. You see, on the top you've got the redhead girl, the scuba diver. If you look at the bottoms here of each pile, you've got the redhead girl, the scuba diver. They've just changed places. You see these two top cards? They don't match. They're not buddies. You see these two top cards? They don't match. They're not buddies. You see these two bottom cards? They don't match. They're not buddies. No one's swimming with their buddy. That's not safe. We'll use the magic spell, swim but never alone, to bring all the buddies back together. We'll spell each word one at a time. And for each letter of the word, we'll take one card from the top and put it on the bottom. You can spell along if you want, and you get to choose the piles. Our first word, swim. Pile number one or pile number two, the choice is totally up to you.
Number two.
Number two, spell along. S-W-I-M. I take the top card from the pile you told me to shuffle. I take the top card from that pile that I never even touched. Do those cards match? Yes, they are buddies. Swim, but never alone. Let's take the second word of our magic spell. Pile number one, pile number two. The choice is totally up to you.
Pile number one.
Pile number one. Our next word is but. B-U-T. I take the top card from the pile you told me to shuffle. The top card from the pile I never even touched. They match. They're buddies. Swim, but never alone. Now we're to the word never. Pile number 1, pile number 2. The choice is totally up to you.
Number 2.
Number 2, never. N-E-V-E-R. I take the top card from the pile you told me to shuffle. The top card from that pile that I never even touched, and they match. They're buddies. Swim, but never alone. We're to the last word of our magic spell. Who's going to help me? Pile number 1, pile number 2. The choice is totally up to you.
1.
Pile number 1. Alone. A-L-O-N-E. I take the top card from the pile that you told me to shuffle. Top card from the pile I never even touched. They match. Their buddies. The last 2 cards match. The buddies are all back together because when you swim, swim with a friend. It's much safer and more fun then. And remember, swim, but never alone, really is a magic spell. I'm going to show you the second version. We're not going to do all the dialogue. You don't usually repeat a magic trick, but since this is participation with the kids, and now they know what you're doing, they are going to be eager. So, first of all, your cards are already reset. They're all in pairs. All you have to do is deal them out in pairs on the table. This time, rather than giving one pile that shuffle, you're merely going to ask them which pile they want to turn over. Now this is going to be fun because you'll have one face-up pile, one face-down pile. And that's going to make them think they can trick you more when they make their choices. I'm going to go through it real fast just so you see it doesn't matter. So, the first choice is pile number 1, pile number 2. This time I'm not going to say the magic spell. I'll turn one pile face up. Which will it be? Pile number 1, pile number 2. Choice is totally up to you.
Number 2.
Number 2. So you take the second pile, turn it face up. All right? You're done. You are now set. Because of the mathematics of this trick, it doesn't matter where you go from here. It comes out right every time. Right now, we're going to do the magic spell. I'm going to do it quick. The spell is swim, but never alone. Pile number 1, pile number 2. First word, swim.
Number 1.
Number 1. Okay, swim. S-W-I-M. You take the top card from the pile they told you to shuffle. It has to match the face-up card. Bam, it does, just like that. Right. They're buddies. You put them down. Pile number 1, pile number 2. The choice is totally up to you.
Number 2.
Number 2. The second word is but. Here we go. B-U-T. Now they know it's going to be the scuba diver that you have to match. Here's the pile you never even touched. You whip it over. There they are. A perfect pair. Okay? Pile number 1, pile number 2. Choice is totally up to you.
Number 2.
Number 2. We've spelled swim, but now it's time for never. N-E-V-E-R. Face-up card right there. Has to match right over here. Oh my gosh, they do. They're buddies. Swim, but never alone. Pile number 1, pile number 2. Choice is up to you.
Number 1.
Number 1. We're at the last word of the spell, alone.
A.
A-L-O-N-E. We arrive right here. Bump, 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 bump. Matches the face-up card. Only 2 cards left, and they match. All the buddies are together. When you swim, swim with a friend. It's much safer and more fun then. So, rather than mix them up behind your back, just turn one pile face over. It's actually more effective, and if you want to do a shorter version. But if you're doing this to fill time, you get a lot of kids to participate, run 2 of them. I hope you enjoy that. I hope you get a lot of use out of it. Who knows, you might save a kid's life sometime, because when you swim, swim with a friend, it's much funner and more safe than swim, but never alone. The buddy system. Ernie Guter, John Theater 16, Mickey the Clown on camera. Thank you very much, Down and Dirty. Hope you get the idea. Goodbye.